We're going to move on to learning how to crochet in circles. This is quite common in toys and also lace patterns like doilies, where you have to start with a circle at the beginning of your project and work outwards. There are several methods to do this, including the magic loop method or just a plain chain method. I'm going to start with the magic loop method, which you make by wrapping the yarn over your index and middle finger and gripping it with your thumb. Then you pull the active yarn through the loop and slip stitch to secure. So carefully twist the loop over, take your active yarn and slip stitch. Then I'm going to do some stitches into the circle just to demonstrate how to tighten the circle. The way you do this is making the 3 chain of trebles, because I'm going to do treble stitches into the loop, and then I'm going to work some trebles into the center of the circle. Here you're just stitching into the center of the circle instead of going into a stitch. So doing some trebles, going to try and work a few into the circle just so you get the idea of what I'm doing. Try and bunch them up as you go along. You can always tighten the circle at the end by pulling on the non-active yarn to close it up. So here I'm doing just a few more trebles into that circle. Pull through 2 loops. Going to wrap the yarn around your fingers and pull it to close. Then you do a simple slip stitch into the top of your 3 turning chain which you originally made. This is obviously a demonstration. You need to follow the pattern to see how many stitches you need to do in the circle. If you pull on the yarn, it tightens the circle to close. This just creates quite a tight tension and it means you can't see where you've started the project. So I'm going to unravel this and move on to the chain method of creating a circle. You do this by creating a slip knot as you normally do, grabbing hold of your yarn and making, in this case I'm going to make 6 chain. The rule I tend to go by is if you make 6 chain, you want to double the number of stitches that you do into your circle. So I've made my chain, and then I'm going to do just a slip stitch into the start of where the chain began. And then my 3 turning chain to start my trebles. Remember to use the right turning chain for the stitch you're trying to achieve. So here I've done 3. And then we're going to treble just into the center of the circle. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to see where that is, but if you open the loop out nicely, you should be able to see it. Grab the yarn and pull through 2 stitches, and again. So I'm going to go just do a few trebles into the circle just to start the project. To count each stitch, if you count from the outside of the circle, you should see a teardrop shape or a leaf shape. This is how you count your stitches. So here I've done a few trebles. I'm going to do a few more. So I'm going to go for 12 trebles this time. Yep. And another one. I'm going to keep going until I've got 12. Here I've got to do another 2. Doesn't matter about your ends. You're going to have to weave them in at the end anyway. Do a couple more, and then again, like we did with the magic loop, you want to slip stitch into the top of the 3 turning chain. It might help you to place a marker here so that you know what you're doing every time you stitch around. A couple more trebles for me to finish. And slip stitch into the top of that 3 turning chain. This is where you'd place your marker so that when you come round, you should be able to see where you're going. As you can see, it's not as easy to tighten, but it still gives you a nice finish.